Microsoft. You know, for decades, they were the undisputed king of the PC. But as we all know, in the tech world, staying on top, that's the hardest part. So this is the story of how a titan fell behind, only to pull off one of the most incredible comebacks in corporate history. All right, let's get into it.
It really all boils down to this one number: $4 trillion. I mean, that's the mind-blowing valuation Microsoft hit back in early 2025. And to put that into perspective for you, that's bigger than the GDP of most countries on the entire planet. It's a number that honestly would have sounded like science fiction just a decade ago.
And you can see that transformation right here. Think about it. The Microsoft of the 90s, they were all about one thing, and one thing only: getting Windows on every single desktop, a total monopoly. But the Microsoft of today, wow, it is a completely different animal, built on the cloud, and you guessed it, betting the entire farm on AI.
So yeah, that's the big question we're tackling in this explainer. How on earth did a company that seemed so stuck in the past manage to not just survive, but actually redefine the future of tech? Well, the answer is a story that unfolds in 3 very distinct acts.
Okay, Act 1. This, of course, starts with Bill Gates, right at the dawn of the personal computer. This was the era of absolute, total dominance. I'm talking a time when Microsoft didn't just sell software, they literally built the entire ecosystem everyone else lived in.
So let's just quickly run through how fast they rose to the top. They started up in '75, but the real game changer, that was 1981. IBM needed an operating system for its very first PC, and who did they call? Microsoft. They delivered MS-DOS, and that one move set the stage for everything that followed. First Windows 3.0, and then, of course, the icon itself, Windows 95. That sealed the deal for an entire generation.
And just look at this chart. It really shows you the insane scale of that dominance. I mean, by 1993, a whopping 90% of all PCs in the world were running a Microsoft OS. Think about that. They weren't just the market leader, they pretty much were the entire market. But, you know, that kind of power, it always comes with a price. The company got so aggressive that rivals started crying foul, and that led eventually to a massive antitrust lawsuit from the US government. And yeah, they found Microsoft guilty of illegally trying to maintain its monopoly. That whole legal battle, it cast a really long shadow over the company for years to come. And that leads us right into Act 2. After Bill Gates stepped down as CEO back in 2000, Steve Ballmer took over. Now, don't get me wrong, the company was still making a ton of money, but they started missing all the next big things in tech. They were a giant for sure, but a giant that was completely adrift. I mean, just look at this timeline of missed revolutions. You've got Google completely changing the game with search. Then Apple comes along and literally reinvents the phone with the iPhone. And the App Store creates this whole new economy out of thin air. And where was Microsoft? Pretty much nowhere. They were just too slow to see that the internet and mobile, that was the future. Now, to be fair, it wasn't all bad. Of course not. Windows XP was a beloved workhorse, right? And Xbox became a serious contender in the gaming world. But man, for every single hit, there was a huge high-profile miss. I mean, who remembers the Zune? Or their mobile OS that just couldn't get off the ground? This really captures that wild inconsistency. And nothing, I mean nothing, symbolized this era better than Windows Vista. This quote here really nails it. It was a total mess. It was bloated. It was confusing. And businesses, you know Microsoft's bread and butter, they absolutely hated the new interface. In fact, people loved the old Windows XP so much that Microsoft had to keep supporting it for years and years after they were supposed to cut it off. That tells you everything you need to know. Which brings us to Act 3. And this one is the most dramatic turn of all. By 2014, the company was at a serious crossroads. The board made a huge, pivotal decision. They appointed a 22-year company insider, a guy named Satya Nadella, as the new CEO. And this right here was the beginning of the Great Refresh. Honestly, the title of Satya Nadella's book says everything. Hit refresh. His mission wasn't just about launching some new products. No, this was a full-blown cultural revolution. He completely shifted the focus away from protect the Windows empire at all costs to a brand new mantra: cloud first, mobile first. It was all about working together, about empathy, and about finding that innovative soul Microsoft seemed to have lost. And boy, did it work. The absolute centerpiece of this new strategy was Azure, their cloud computing platform. See, when Nadella took over, they were way behind Amazon's AWS, a distant second. But as you can see, by early 2025, they had aggressively closed that gap. They became a super powerful number 2 in a market that was just exploding in size.
And if you need one number to tell the whole story, it's this one, 61%. Get this, in 2014, the cloud was a tiny 5% of Microsoft's revenue. By 2025, it was over 60%. I mean, that is just a staggering, unbelievable business transformation, no matter how you slice it.
But here's the thing. Catching that massive cloud wave, that was just the beginning. Nadella immediately set his sights on the next big one, artificial intelligence. He saw this incredible opportunity to not just play in the game, but to actually lead it.
And the strategy was, when you think about it, deceptively simple but also incredibly bold. Step 1, a massive, early bet, a $1 billion investment in a research lab that not many people had heard of at the time, called OpenAI. Then, Step 2, once that tech grew up and became things like ChatGPT, Microsoft moved at lightning speed. They started weaving it into absolutely everything they make, Windows, Word, even their Bing search engine.
And this really shows their core vision perfectly. See, it's not just about making one cool AI product. No, the plan is to infuse AI into every single layer of their business. We're talking from the cloud infrastructure way down at the bottom, through their platforms like Windows, and all the way up to the apps we all use every single day. The goal is to fundamentally change how we interact with all of their software. It's a total reimagining.
So, after this incredible whirlwind transformation, what does the Microsoft of today actually look like? Well, one thing's for sure, it's not just the Windows company anymore, not by a long shot. It is a deeply diversified, absolute tech behemoth.
Basically, their operations now break down into 3 core pillars. First, you've got your classic productivity stuff. Think Office, which we now know as Microsoft 365. Then there's that massive intelligent cloud division, with Azure as the star player. And finally, you still have the personal computing segment, which is home to Windows, Xbox, and their Surface devices.
And a huge piece of this whole diversification puzzle came from some really smart strategic buys. You know, like the ones you see here. Grabbing Skype gave them a solid foothold in communications, and that massive $26 billion purchase of LinkedIn back in 2016, that gave them an incredible platform for business data and professional networking. Just a brilliant move.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Look, Microsoft absolutely defined the PC era. Then they kind of missed the boat on the mobile revolution. But then they pulled off this masterful pivot to conquer the cloud. And now they have gone all in on AI. They've got the money, they've got the strategy, and they definitely have the leadership. So the only real question left is, will AI be their third and maybe their greatest act yet?